Yes, good to go. I could see a world of cryptocurrencies.
Right, great. So as we said last time, the first segment that we did, as I said, this is my third segment in this series that we are doing. In the first segment, we showed where the world is moving towards cryptocurrency. Not only the world, but even Trinidad and Tobago is moving that way. Trinidad and Tobago has shown that they are not ready as yet for that, but because the rest of the world is moving there, they have no other choice but to see how they can get on board and to do likewise. The challenge, however, is that we have a system which we are part of, referred to as the banking system. And the banking system, because they have grown too big for themselves, and even for us, we have to say, why I say they have grown too big, their profit margins are swelling more and more, so much so that what we get as benefits for lending them money is taking a toll on our economy. So this was shown in our first segment, and we use two main methods: fractional reserve lending and quantitative easing. Their methods have caused the economy. We're looking at the US now. Why the US? Because Trinidad and Tobago's dollar is attached to the US dollar. Also, 2/3 of the world has pegged their currency to the US as a de facto currency. So we look at the US economy and we look at their debt situation. Their debt situation right now is about $23 trillion. I want you to understand, in the year 2007, their debt situation stood at $9 trillion. Why this is important is because the year after that, there was a big crisis in the US. Their debt situation, which stood at just $1 trillion more, would have been $10 trillion in 2008. Yet, they found that their debt had grown too much. So there was a crisis. And I'm telling you that the debt situation now has grown from $10 trillion then to $23 trillion now. The problem is that whilst we see that as a problem, because if your debts are growing too wide and too far, the economists now have a rationale for that. Because they say if you have a higher debt to your GDP, which is the goods that are produced or the productivity that is responsible for bringing goods to the table, goods and services, and the debt to make that possible, once your debt to GDP is acceptable, it is okay. But they are now saying their rationale is that a higher debt to GDP ratio is acceptable when an economy is rapidly growing, because its future earnings will be able to pay off the debt more quickly. Now, this whole thing is nonsense. Why is nonsense? Because we have seen in the US system, every year their debt is growing. There is no possibility of their debt being paid off, much more to even consider it being repaid quickly. So they have handed people that. We have accepted that garbage and we go with it. We run with that because the economists say so, right? We will take a little look at that higher debt to GDP ratio as we go on. The system that the US uses is that, listen, let's bolster the economy with more and more debt. And we're going to use the adage, fake it till you make it. No, even if some of us make it in that kind of system, you know who will pay for it? Your children and your grandchildren. And they'll pay through their noses. Why? Because for us to upkeep that lifestyle, somebody has to pay for it. We can't. We don't have the means to do it. So our legacy, which we say we want to create for our loved ones, they're going to haunt us with the thoughts because of what we left here for them. Why? How we reached that situation? We might have been familiar with where we came from, the bartering system. We went through gold, and you see this gold method. This was once used as a form of currency, but it evolved eventually into paper currency and different forms, other forms, which still was attached to paper, until whereby This is the industry that we're referring to now. Industry is now 12 years old, called cryptocurrency. It is still a new currency. It is still a new industry by many standards, many thoughts of the imagination. But we're going to take a look at this cryptocurrency as we go. As we go deeper into why we're saying this, we already see whereby that this company, OneLife, has stepped into an industry when the company came on board. It is soon going to be 6 years old that been in this industry. So almost half the duration of this cryptocurrencies. As I say, we are approaching 6 years old later this year. This is significant because business statistics show you that 85% of all businesses fail. We already in the top 15% of existing businesses. As I got into my second segment, I also looked at companies, previous Fortune 500 companies, which could not overcome certain deficiencies. We looked at 16 areas that led to the demise. We graded our company against those areas, all right? And we saw whereby, because of the work that we had put into this business, we had where we could not exist fast. We to get a passing grade in that. And even the few areas that we could, right? We still see the company making great strides to carry the company forward past these areas because they are working on these snags. Now, the company has taken this thing to a whole different level. The company says, listen, to get into this era, this new economic era called cryptocurrency, we need to understand what we enter. So we are not just going to tell you, come on board and trust us. We want you to understand why you're getting into this. We want you, for you to understand that, for you to have a different lifestyle, a different future. First of all, your mindset has to be changed. Your mindset can only be changed through understanding, through comprehension of what it is. So we sell comprehension. We sell understanding of what this is about. But this kind of thinking is not new. If you remember the father of our nation, deceased Dr. Rick Williams, what did he say years ago? He told these school children, your future lies in your school bag. Why? Because we, Trinidad and Tobago, had come out of a period of slavery and indentureship, so that for the country now to have taken a different trail, the mindset had to change, and you realize it had to happen in the school children. So he encouraged them to get into the education and understand that. But we even had a guy before that, a wise gentleman who walked the earth, and what did he say back then, centuries ago? You cannot put new wine into old wineskin. I want to repeat it. It's there in the Bible. You cannot put new wine into old wineskin. So this company called OneLife is introducing new wine to you tonight. But your mindset has to change to be able to accept it. We are producing information. We are producing what we call a sensitizing program in finance, in forex training and trading, and in the laws of cryptocurrency. You heard me right. We ain't just providing education, we are providing a sensitizing program in each of these areas. Right? We also have shown, in addition to the education and understanding you're going to get, depending on which area you want to get on board with, we're also going to provide a platform of utility for you, whereby you can now engage in commerce in a new platform called our dealshaker platform. And this has leveled the playing field doing trade. Again, when you come on board, you're going to see how this operates. So our assessment after our first and second segments were that we are in the correct industry. Our timing has been okay, correct, bang on. When we came on board, we only met a couple of hundred cryptocurrencies back then. At this point, as I talk, we have about 5,000 cryptocurrencies. So it tells you how many persons followed us into this field, and we have the correct approach. We have the correct approach in that we want you to understand for your future to change, we are going to show you how to fish so that you now can go out there and fish and make it happen. Clearly, this company has its finger on the financial pulse. All right, after this is where we stopped after our first two segments. But as a good project evaluator, we also have to take a look at, besides our company, what I'm putting out there for you newcomers who listen to me for the first time, you might tell me, but wait, there are other options I could look at. So there is a hurdle for you. Do you get on board with what I have to offer you? Or do you take a look at the other options that are there? Okay, let's take a look at the other options that they have out there so that you can know that you are making a great decision by coming here. You can get on board with the banks that you're presently familiar with, including the banks. They also have the credit unions, insurance companies, but all of these persons are pegged to the banking system. In 2008, when we first started the conversation, that the banking system encouraged the debt to grow to the point in it there was a crisis that the US faced. The world also faced that same crisis in 2008 in Trinidad and Tobago. We faced it also, and we saw the demise of Hindu Credit Union and CLICO. As a result of that, catch the coal. We can't get away from that. So each of these institutions that you have there, or any other financial institution like this, if you choose to remain there, they're linked to the banking system. The banking system is due for a hit. When the banks go, everybody else who's connecting system is going to go also. All right? But then you might tell me, wait, the banking system due for a hit? You can't believe what does that mean by that? Okay, follow me now with the figures. Please follow what I'm saying. The national debt right now is $23 trillion. I said that earlier. I also told you that the year before 2008, the debt of the US at that time was $9 trillion. When it grew by $1 trillion extra the following year, the crisis hit them, boom. I want you to also understand this, that in the year 1987, 20 years prior to 2007, the national debt of the US at that time was $3 trillion. So it meant that in 20 years leading up to the year 2007, the US debt grew by $6 trillion. Again, I ask you to have kept that figure in mind. So it took the US 20 years to grow their debt by $6 trillion. 20 years to grow the debt by $6 trillion. Do you know, as we said, after 2008, it took 12 years to grow their debt more than double that figure. So it took less than the 20 years to grow their debt by more than double that figure. How did the US get out of the 2000s? The same way they got into it. The same banking system which promoted the growth of debts to that trouble, they used that same system to buy themselves out of trouble. So they patched up the system by providing more and more loans. So once you wanted to use ads, or you wanted to get involved in bonds or stocks, treasury bills, once you wanted to get mortgages against overvalued properties, people who got involved in stock buybacks. All of these things grew the debt of the US. I want you to also understand that what the US has done is just a model for other countries. So do not feel that they are alone in this. They have just led the way for other countries to follow. But again, I'm focusing on the US because they directly impact my country and two-thirds of the world. All right? Now, what makes this even more to accept is that whilst they have taken another 12 years to grow the debt by $13 trillion, we see where in another few weeks, they are going to pump in another $6 trillion, guys. Understand what I'm saying? The US economy already holding on by fingernails up to this point, up to when the coronavirus came on board. Under the guise of the coronavirus, the US is now saying, listen, we are moving more into a digital-based currency so that we can pump in more money into the system, inflate the debt situation by another $6 trillion because we no longer have to print paper dollar bills as we did in the past. We only have to click digits. It is much quicker and certainly much cheaper to do it that way, so it is more convenient. Guys, when the $6 trillion comes in, what do you think then is going to happen? The national debt, I said I was going to talk a little figures here because I'm an ex-banker. The national debt to GDP back in 2008 when the crisis hit was almost 70%. At that time, it was the highest ever in the US. So much so I told you where the economists came up with this beautiful mantra that, hey, once you can pay back the debt and all kind of nonsense, I showed you it. Do you know when the $6 trillion debt is put in to the economy in the next few weeks, or let's say it takes 3 or 4 months for it to happen? Because they're going to put it, they already said they're going to give $2 trillion to the small business, $4 trillion to the Fortune 500 companies and big banks. Big businesses going to get the larger part of it, right? When that $6 trillion is added to this figure, what is going to happen now is that the debt to GDP ratio is going to be in the range of about 135%. Because right now, as it stands, before the $6 trillion figure was put in, the debt to GDP went up to 106% from 70%. It climbed from 70 to 106%. And when the $6 trillion is added, it's going to be about 135%. Look at some of the countries who US is going to be keeping company with at that time, when they're in 135%. Japan, Greece, Venezuela, Sudan, Lebanon, Italy, Eritrea, Portugal. Guys, most of these countries have one thing in common: their economy in shambles because of their debt, the high debt to GDP ratio. Ivan Mark, what does Forex train you to accept? Follow the trend. If this is the company that the US is going to be in, they are going to follow the same trend as these that they keep in company with. Boy, misery really loves company, you know. So this is the situation that the US is going to be facing. It is not going to be a pleasant environment then. It's in easy now. It is going to be worse then. I hope you understand my figures and how I arrived at that. Also, you then have where you have another option. So I just showed you have an option. You could stay with your banking system. All right. I then showed you now, I'm showing you now, you can say, okay, I can use my money to buy stocks and shares. Well, your stocks and shares also linked to the banking system. The year 2008 showed that when the banking system took a hit, all the stocks and shares panicked. They fell big time. So I do not see that as an option that you want to go into. And I hope I have made myself very, very straightforward and understandable as to why the banking system is going to take a big hit. We now have our third option, other cryptocurrencies. I told you when we came on board that we were a few hundred strong. Now we 5,000 cryptocurrencies. So if you, the newcomer, want to say, listen, let me look at other cryptocurrencies out there, I want to tell you something. The vast majority of cryptocurrencies, their purpose when they were set up based on the original cryptocurrency that came out in the name of Bitcoin. Most of you would have heard about Bitcoin. It was the first and what we fondly refer to as the grand cryptocurrencies. They came out with the original purpose being an alternative to cash, meaning you can use this to buy goods and services, to engage in economic activity outside of the banking system. That is why it came on board. The end result as we see it now is that it has moved away from that and it has gone into speculation into the futures market. You might ask, but why I could say that? You see, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have been referred to because of what the original purpose stood for as digital gold, right? Now, in keeping with that, it is expected as how gold goes, that's how gold goes, when the value of cash goes down, the value of gold goes up. Likewise, when the value of cash goes down, it is expected that the value of cryptocurrencies is supposed to rise. However, in this coronavirus period, when people they were very fearful of using cash because people were saying, listen, they expected that the cash is a carrier now of the virus. A lot of persons no longer had confidence in using cash. So they prefer to have used just the card or whatever it is. So they engage in the digital transactions. So because there was a lack of confidence in cash over the last few months, it was expected that cryptocurrencies must shoot up in value. But guess what? That did not happen. In fact, I am seeing an article which shows, and by a reputable company, CNBC, where cryptocurrencies fell almost by $100 billion. And that wasn't wiped out in a matter of 24 hours. How could that happen? That was in last month. How could that have happened if people lost confidence in using cash? How could the value of cryptocurrencies not have gone up as it was supposed to have been intended? Guys, through a lack of understanding. The persons who got involved in cryptocurrencies, other cryptocurrencies, did not understand it. They thought it was, hey, let me get on board and use this thing not to engage in transactions with, but to be able to use it to see how high the value would climb, and then I would cash out and make a profit. Well, the cryptocurrency market failed the acid test. It quite clearly shows that the persons who have gotten involved with cryptocurrencies so far not understood what it is for, and as a result of their lack of understanding, they lost a lot of value in what they had. And I think the same book by the gentleman who walked talking about putting new, you cannot put new wine into old wineskin, also said something to the effect that my people perish for the lack of knowledge. People who got involved in cryptocurrencies for that purpose perished. They saw, you're seeing where almost $100 billion was wiped away. But my company didn't do that. My company says, hey, we are on board for the understanding. In fact, our cryptocurrency rose in value during that time. But get on board and understand what it is I'm talking about. We have another option now. You heard me talk about gold going up in value. I want you to understand that there was a time when I showed you in the evolution of currency where gold was once a currency, but there were problems associated with gold. That is why they had to gold. It could not serve as a global currency. It was too limited. So if we look at the functions of money, which is a medium of exchange, a unit of account, The only one that gold really stands up for is a store of value. It does not meet the others in its entirety. So that is why gold failed to be a currency and to continue as such. Now you are going to tell me that, okay, if paper money falls through and the banking system falls through, we can go back to gold. Guys, gold failed when we had less business activity. So it cannot now, in the face of increased business activity, now move from being where it had problems to now becoming one that is a viable option. But I will take it even further than that. I want you to understand. Let's go back into time. The people who proposed that we move away from gold, at one time paper money was backed by gold. The US people who said, listen, let's do away with the system with paper money being attached to gold. At that time, gold was valued at $35 an ounce. The people who said, let's move away from that. We want to have more money into the system. They were faced with two options. One, we can, listen, you know what? Let's carry up the value of gold so that the money that we now have in the system is now backed up by a higher. So they were willing to manipulate the value back then and move it from the then $35 an ounce to inflate it so that the paper money which was in the system would be pegged to a higher value of gold. When that was being done through a number of methods, value of gold has been climbing. But in 1971, when that system could no longer hold fast, the then President Richard Nixon said, hey, I'm disbanding the gold to the paper dollar system. So here what's happened. We are now saying, okay, let's get into gold still. So a lot of persons are telling me, Cliff Samlal Singh, gold is the way to go. Well, here why I tell them, no, gold cannot be the way to go. The principal people, the principal owners of gold right now are the central banks in various countries. Understand what I'm saying? If you're moving away from a banking system and you're putting the power back into gold, you are putting back the power back into the banking system because they are the principal holders of gold. In fact, it is shown where the banks hold about 33,800 tons of gold in the world. The top four are who I show you right there, the US, Germany, Italy. The four of them alone, they account for almost 50% of all the tonnage of gold that they have. So of course, they would want you to say, hey, listen, get involved in gold. Gold is where the price is going to go. And we, the banks, going to make sure that the value of gold is climbing. So the value of gold is still being manipulated to suit their purposes. What I'm trying to show you. Done back then, it is still being done now. All right? And value of gold is still both economical and sentimental. You might say, but how I could say sentimental? A simple example would show you. All right, I agree, before I get into the sentimental, that it has a degree of economic state. I agree because of the limited amount on this earth that economics shows that demand and supply would determine the price. So I agree that economics is played there. I also agree that gold has some usage in it, in jewelry and dentistry, electronics. It has some usage. I am also suggesting that the price of gold is also based on sentiments. So you go, for instance, you go and buy an engagement ring in the jewelry store. You see a nice, you're asking, you want 18 karat gold with the diamond on top. You like the 18 karat around it. We're just looking at the gold part of it because the diamond falls into the same category. Same thing, all right? You use the 18-karat gold. You buy, you present your engagement ring to your significant other. When you go to present it, the same she fall out. Engagement call off. You go back to the jewelry store, or not even the jewelry store, to a pawnbroker the same day and say, listen, I want money for this. See the fraction of the money that you get. Why? In reality, the real price to the pawnbroker is what the gold and the diamond actually value. The excess amount that you have paid for that same day is really through a sentiment, because your heart felt nice, you're feeling on top of the world, you want to present this. So much so when you present it, you're going down on one knee with, and sometimes you're putting it in a glass of wine. All I'm saying is that is the sentimental conjecture that goes with it. That is what has inflated the price to that extent. All right. So we got to understand that gold cannot be it. And the final option, you're going to tell me, okay, you're trusting in the government. Their words say that all is well. I want to tell you, you can't trust that, because right now we in turmoil. But you're going to tell me the euro could stand up. The euro can't stand up. They don't know how sustainable the euro is based on Brexit. Let's look at the pound sterling. Their value is fickle. Why I say it fickle? Look at what happened earlier this week. From the time you heard the British Prime Minister was in ICU, the value of the pound sterling fell immediately. So their value fickle. The Chinese, all right, they are a major power player, but they don't have enough confidence yet by the rest of the world currency. What about Russia? Hey, Russia waiting in the wings. You don't know what's going on with them. And between the Chinese and Russia, both of them waiting to undermine the US dollar. And they're waiting for all of this to happen once this pandemic is dealt with. So, you know what's happening there? It reminds me so much. The world is tense. The world is uneasy because it will not be business as usual at that time. It reminds me of when my wife tell me, hey, don't forget we had the walls to paint outside for Christmas. I say, yes, baby. So I start painting. And you know when your paintbrush pass close to the jack spiner nest, you ever notice what the jack spiner, you ain't at the nest. You ever notice what the jack spiner do? They start to flare out. They go into aggression mode because they set. That is what the world will be after this coronavirus pandemic is past. Because we don't know, the whole scenario is going to change, guys. It is going to change. So, and you also have, I said that's your final option, but I want to add there's still one more option. There's another option beside in that I hear the world talking about a one world currency. So you're going to go into a one world currency, which is going to be determined by the same banking system. Well, I want to tell you one time that if, no, go on, right? I want to tell you one time that the banking system, they failed me. Now that I understand all this education that I've gotten through my company, they have failed me. I cannot, they have the foot in my neck. I can't keep my head above waters for long, right? There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So if I am going to go back to their one world currency, which is dictated by the banks, then shame on me. And if you decide as your option, then shame on you too. All right? Now, the time up. You now have a decision to make in that presented options to you, and I've shown you why our currency is the only option that we can take up. We don't have a choice anymore. I've gone into different segments. I hope I've made myself clear. I hope the time I've taken to present this, the little research I've done in figures and so on to bring it to you is not going to be a talk shop for you guys. Come here to make up time because I don't want to watch television or I don't want to read. I hope that it has done something to wake up in you guys and everybody who you know that suffers through a domestic abusive situation. They have to get on board with this. This provides hope. This provides a means where your future will change. Come on board for the sake of a package of only 140 euros or 1400 TT dollars, which will be valued less than that in a few months' time, because I've shown you where the banking system is going to be taking a hit. Get on board now. 1400 TT dollars or 140 euros will buy you a level of education for you to have an understanding as to why your future will change. All right. And you going to be able to talk with the conviction that I have presented to you tonight, why you're in the best opportunity. Thank you. Have a great night. And I now pass you back over to my Blue Diamond leader. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cliff Samalal Singh. And wow, that was time well spent. I wouldn't say that, you wasted your time at all. I believe that, the listeners, the people who are listening, especially those who are listening for the first time, they have a decision to make. Sometimes somebody come to you and they say, I have good news and I have bad news. I say that, the bad news is that we see so many governments failing, government after government failing. We see the world in turmoil economically, and that is the bad news for many of us, especially the masses are affected by it. But the good news is that we have found a way. And so the reason why we spend these nights with you, these nights giving you the opportunity to invite someone to hear what we have to say, is because we have found a way and we care, so we share this opportunity, and now the ball is in your court. And I would say that, don't take too much time. Don't take too much time to think that you overthink and think yourself out of a good opportunity. And also, don't listen to someone who would tell you, nah, that's not the way to go, don't put your money there. Don't listen to someone. As a matter of fact, ask them, what is the way? Because many people could try to discourage you and tell you, don't do this, don't do that. But ask them, do you have a way out? Because you have already identified by listening to the presenter tonight and by even paying attention to what's going on in the world that we have a problem. So when you have a solution presented to you and somebody tried to discourage you, you have to ask them to show you another way. So this is the way, guys, ladies and gentlemen, and the ball is in your court. Before we close off this evening's call, I want to give an opportunity for some testimonials or, whatever. We have some members here who have been with this company, OneLife, for some time now. And if you are here, let's say 2 years, 3 years, that if there must be a reason why you remain with the company. So I want to give, firstly, an opportunity to, just let me go down my list here. Right, good. To Mr. Edwin Wilson, one of our diamond leaders, to unmute his mic. I know you all heard from him the other night, but there are many of you for the first time here. Why are you with OneLife? What's the reason why you remain here? And, just share with us your experience. Why are you still here?
Hi, good night, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so the name is Edwin Wilson, and really starting this business back in June 2016. When I came on board, and Cliff alluded to it a little bit, that, a lot of people say this business is a scam, it wouldn't work, you're going to lose your money. No, that was back in 2016. Had I not taken the time to get the information, to get the financial information, and start to work my business and understand the industry that we are in, I would not be in the position I am in today. Meaning, I've seen benefits from the business in terms of the financial education and dealing with the bankers, the credit unions, and all the hogwash they tend to tell you. But further to that, I've seen my life change. I just wanted a house with a picket fence, a nice car to drive, and basically have some savings in the bank, which I didn't have before getting involved in this business. A few years later on, I was able to get my house. I was able to purchase 2 vehicles using this OneCoin cryptocurrency, purchase land, and have some semblance of peace of mind, have a savings, could tell my children in terms of what they want to pursue career-wise. The business gives hope. And if nothing else you got from this tonight, because the picture out there is grim with the coronavirus and what the world would be afterwards. But we are here to tell you that OneLife, our OneCoin cryptocurrency, our ecosystem and the community involved, we have hope. Good night, folks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edwin Wilson. What just ran across my mind, you know, when you invite someone to a meeting like this, and then they get involved, they decide they're getting involved, they're going to buy a package, they're going to start doing this business or start educating themselves. You feel a certain amount of responsibility. You know that, yes, this person has to do the work for the thing to work for them, but you feel a certain amount of responsibility when someone gets involved. And when it's up to them, the ball is in their court to pick up the education and to learn, because we know that that's the heart of the company. But when you see someone even going past just learning or being educated in the company, and they start away from the theory, now they start getting involved in the practical part of the organization, and they are able to use their coins, they are able to even see the value of their OneCoins increase. You know, you really feel a certain amount of pride. You feel honored to know that you really participated in helping someone and helping to change someone's life. And that's one of the ways that we could give through this business. And I would encourage you to continue sharing. Some people may not want to hear you, you know. And some people, they may hear you, they may get involved, and then they would not do their due diligence and do what they have to do to accomplish or to reap the fruits that this business has to offer. But you just continue to share. I see Mr. Samji raised his hand. I don't know if he wants to share with us. I don't mind opening up the mic for him to share. We haven't heard from him in a while. But what I'm saying is that, and I wanted to make mention too of someone today, just today, one of the members who has been with us for a while was saying, you know, when will I think it was yesterday actually, when will I get the opportunity to exchange my cryptocurrency for other currencies? And I think it's sad sometimes when we miss the mark. And please understand that we have an ecosystem. You see it all the time when we present. The exchange and being able to exchange your cryptocurrency for other currencies, or ones for other currencies, is part of the ecosystem. We are not shying away from that topic at all. We have a goal, we have a mission. But what's more important is for you to understand that it's more important for us to spread this cryptocurrency, or to use this cryptocurrency amongst our community or each other in our community, and see the value grow. Because when we move back, when you're just so eager to move back to a dying currency, then you have really, really not educated yourself and understood the purpose and the vision of OneLife. So let me open the mic of Mr. Samji. I'd love to hear from you. You can unmute your mic, Samji. And share with us.
Good night to my OneLife family. Are you all hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Right. Cliff, are you trying to frighten me, boy? When I look at what you are presenting, and I think about my grandchildren who is in the US, are you saying that my grandchildren have to pay back that debt? Thank you and good night to all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samji. Yeah, you have to really say it and repeat it sometimes to realize how real it is. That is the truth, and it's not even funny. It's not funny. You know, it's a thought-provoking question Mr. Samji just asked there or stated there, but it's not a funny thing. This is our reality, people. So let us do the responsible thing. Before I close the call, I'd just like to invite, if they are close to their mics, our diamond leaders, Ivan and Michelle Mark, to just share with us before we end the call tonight. Ivan and Michelle.
Hi, good night, everyone. Are you hearing me, Patrice?
Yes, my warrior sister. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I'm wondering if you would see me as well. Are you seeing me?
Let me see. I'll stop my screen. Yes, I can see you.
All right. what happened is I really am amazed when people don't get this understanding. The thing is, we are giving them an option, and we're not saying don't do this and don't stay in the existing financial system. I, being part of the financial system for many years, we experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because it have ugly. And people just don't understand. And Cliff just went through a tremendous presentation in showing the reality of where we are in the world right now. What we are saying is get the understanding. We sell the understanding, and we also given use of what we're selling, because by becoming financially equipped, education-wise I'm speaking about, you can make better choices, you can make better decisions. However, you get something that is worth, that is valuable, that has worth in it, because you end up with some cryptocurrency that you have use of it at once, once you decide you're accepting it. To me, people who are listening to this call and who have been invited, you need to see the win-win. Because if you hear our testimony, you would know that it's a win-win for us, because we didn't have the understanding about cryptocurrency. We didn't know certain things, but we had the financial way. If we didn't equip ourselves to change and to be agents of change, in that we accept and to make that leap to really go into the digital world where cryptocurrency is becoming a norm, where would we be? 4 years down the line, because June will make it 4 years. And guess what? We are still here. Why are we here? Because we have determined, committed individuals like you, Patrice, like Cliff, like everybody on this call, and whoever ever invited anyone here. We are committed of seeing this go further. And go further because we know we add in value. One life at a time. One life at a time, and we would have made the difference. So I want to tell everyone, come in and get educated. Choose whatever subject you decide, whether it be forex, finance, law, e-commerce. Learn, but you are able to earn and use it. And I like to let everyone know that it's existing, because you just heard Edwin say about the many things he was able. And I have the same testimony. I have the very same testimony, in that when I started this, the financial system that I believed in broke me. They broke me and left me broken. And look, right now, the banks have the wherewithal to just simply give people a break. What are they doing? They're giving you a break, but not they're deferring it. So it's a pile up of loans and a pile up of mortgage payments and different things at the end, which would be a balloon, and it would cause more havoc by the time you get back a job, or by the time you get back amidst this coronavirus. They have the wherewithal. So I am saying, as an experienced person in the broken system, the financial system that we live in right now, get educated and get on board. Thank you very much, and good night.
Wow, thank you very much, Michelle. Well said. Accept the change and be willing to make that leap. That was very, very, very powerful, Michelle. And, you know, a lesson that we need to take and take action. Those of you who are here, especially for the first time, accept the change and make the leap. Today, I saw a Zoom call happening with 400 members from Vietnam. And those of you who are members know that recently one of our leaders over on that side of the world recently stepped down as, you know, his position in leadership. And that what they had to do in Vietnam was to accept the change and just make the leap, just decide that, yes, for me, for my family, for my generations to come, I need to make sure I make this decision for them. This brand that we talk about every night, this brand is OneLife, our OneCoin, our cryptocurrency. We are a very strong brand. The brand itself is strong. Yes, challenges, just as like anything else in life, but we are a strong brand, and we will continue to be a strong brand. We keep telling people, you know, keep sharing our vision with people day in, day out. So I will not take any more of your time. I hope you are using your quarantine time wisely. reading a book, listening to something motivational, spending some time with your family, learning to cook something new, a new recipe, something. Let's just make the most out of what we have right now. Do you all know tomorrow, please God, is a holiday, a public holiday in Trinidad and Tobago? Somebody sent me a message today. They said tomorrow is a holiday. Does that make any sense? So enjoy your holiday tomorrow, please God. Do something different. Maybe dress up, okay? Dress up and go in the living room. Have a good night. One and all, I'll share the recording in our groups after the call. Thank you and blessings.